I swear to God, it feels so difficult to hop online anymore without seeing something about Jelly Roll and his wife Bunny. And while a part of that can certainly be blamed on my fiance constantly showing me their TikToks, there's no doubt that over the last few years, Jelly Roll has catapulted from former inmate turned underground rapper to mainstream rock and country chart topper, which is insane to even say, and also a reformed all-around good guy. But how did this happen? How did Jelly go from prison to being lumped in with these strange music artists led by Tech Nine to selling out the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville? That's why today we're going to take a look at who Jason DeFord was before he became Jelly Roll. Jason Bradley DeFord was born on December 4th, 1984 in Antioch, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville, to a mother who constantly struggled with substance abuse and mental health issues. She's also one that gave him the name Jelly Roll since he was a chunky kid, which is kind of fucked up, but still kind of funny. And to a father that had sold meat and was also a bookie before the two would eventually split when Jelly was a teenager, as his dad had left his mom. According to Jelly, quote, "My mother didn't have shit. Nobody had shit at all. People around me who did have shit got it from drugs." Just a month after he turned 14, in January of 1999, Jelly was baptized in his hometown at, ironically, Whitsett Chapel, which is coincidentally the name of his latest record. However, growing up in the rough environment that he did ultimately led him down a similar road as his mother, as at the same age he got baptized, 14, along with a few other people, he got arrested and charged with multiple counts of possession of marijuana and attempted robbery. This led to a rather lengthy string of arrests and a lot of time being fucked up, with him recalling in an interview with Billboard, "In the beginning, I did a lot of drugs. I drank a lot of codeine, a lot of cough syrup. I took a lot of Xanax, did a lot of cocaine, just really took it overboard. I've had years. Dude, I don't remember years. Also, addiction for me is more than just my problems. My child's mother disappeared from her life for almost 5 years because of a heroin addiction. Thankfully, she's sober and back in her life now. My mother has struggled with addiction her whole life. When you grow up in a middle and lower class community, no one sees the effects of drug abuse like those people." Things would really begin to spiral out of control for him when he was 16 and arrested for aggravated robbery and charged as an adult and faced a possible 20 years sentence. As he explained in a separate interview with Billboard, quote, "I never want to overlook the fact that it was a heinous crime. This is a grown man looking back at a 16-year-old kid that made the worst decision that he could have made in life, and people could have got hurt, and by the grace of God, thankfully, nobody did." Speaking of the justice system in Tennessee, who has zero tolerance for violent offenders, he continues, "They were talking about giving me more time than I'd been alive. I hadn't hit my last growth spurt. I was charged as an adult years before I could buy a beer, lease an apartment, get a pack of cigarettes. I feel like the justice system at that point kind of parked me on my only set path." As of June this year, 2023, that charge is actually still on his record, which prevents him from voting and owning a firearm. He also attempted to buy a home in a gated community with a golf course in it, but he was denied due to his past. It also made Jelly unable to obtain his passport up until just recently, which certainly hindered his touring career as he was unable to tour overseas. In the midst of his time in and out of juvie, while still a teenager, he was also working on promoting his music, oftentimes giving a mixtape to anyone who bought coke off of him when he wasn't slinging music out of the trunk of his car, which, I mean, talk about shameless self-promotion. Hey, you want to buy some blow? Here, let me throw in my mixtape for you too. From the sounds of it, he really was the epitome of the local white rapper that drives around with the locally hated sticker on the back of the car. Things would really come to a head and initiate both a change in perspective and a lifestyle change in early 2008 when he was arrested yet again, this time for drug dealing. And at the time of his incarceration, he knew that a woman he had been seeing, Felicia, was pregnant, and in his mind, it was little more than just an annoyance and essentially nothing more than a side effect of his poor lifestyle. As he recalls, I was just irritated by it. Like, I've really fucked up now. He did a complete 180, though, on May 22nd, 2008, the day his daughter Bailey was born, when the guard knocked on his cell door to say, hey, you had a kid today, with Jelly continuing, I've never had nothing in life that urged me in the moment to know that I had to do something different. I have to figure this out right now. And figure it out he did, as upon Bailey's birth, he was able to transfer out of the violent offenders unit and into the education unit to begin the process of obtaining his GED, which he was able to get on his first try. Hilariously, though, this came to a surprise to him, as according to him directly, he thought he was actually slow, but in the end, he says, quote, I walked in there and smacked that bitch out of the park. Jelly ended up finally meeting Bailey on her second birthday. He was already out at that time. And now, of course, Bailey actually lives with Jelly and his wife, Bunny. And we'll get into all the stuff with Bunny here in a little bit. But first, I got to give a shout out to Mammoth Headwear for sponsoring this video. Perhaps you have a massive head like I do. You can't ever find a hat to fit your head. Look no further than Mammoth Headwear. I'm actually wearing the hat right now, and it really does fit me like a dream. You can check out the link below and use promo code Logan at checkout for 10% off your order. And it's not just hats either. They got all sorts of stuff. Shirts, hoodies, beanies, all that kind of stuff. Mammoth Headwear is the undisputed place to go if you have a massive head like I do. Upon finally being released, he decided to turn his life around and finally start focusing on the music, releasing a number of albums independently and first appearing on Billboard's R&B and hip-hop chart in 2011 with the Strictly Business record, which was a collab with the rapper Haystack and ended up peaking at number 67. According to Jelly, from 2010 to 2015, he more or less lived in a van, driving wherever he could to get work, including driving up to Columbus, Ohio, to do a feature on literally anyone else's track for just $50. Not really a great return on what was probably a 6-hour or so drive just one way, but hey, obviously it's worked out for him. He felt that he really had to focus on the music so that he didn't end up falling back into his old ways, and good for him for staying driven, as obviously it has paid off. Look where he's at today. In 2013, Jelly would find himself in even more legal trouble, although this time for something quite a bit different than anything in his past. His favorite restaurant chain had actually threatened legal action after he released an album using both their name in the title and logo on the artwork. The restaurant chain in question, oh yeah, you already know what it is, motherfucking Waffle House. The album in question, Whiskey, Weed, and Waffle House, as it was originally known, before ultimately being changed to Whiskey, Weed, and Women, and the Waffle House logo being swapped out for a cease and desist stamp, of course making light from the threat from Waffle House. During this time period, and hell, maybe even still to this day, who knows, he would regularly refer to himself as a quote-unquote regular fat piece of white trash. And to further add accuracy to that statement, on the Waffle House album, there's a guest spot by someone named Grizz, who Jelly actually met at fucking Waffle House. As he recalled in an interview with Gawker, quote, oddly enough, we met that motherfucker at a Waffle House. This dude cooking with tattoos everywhere, smells like a fresh lit cigarette mixed with some bad weed. He looks over and goes, y'all are Jelly Roll's people. Jelly ended up signing Grizz to the label he was operating at the time, an indie label called Crash Out Music, and teased Waffle House, where careers are started. Jelly would go on to continue independently releasing albums, including one in 2013 with Lil White, which would end up hitting number 17 on Billboard's Top Rap Albums chart. This would eventually lead to a rather long-term and certainly very fruitful partnership with the grandson of legendary country singer Waylon Jennings, Struggle Jennings, And together, the two would end up releasing a total of 4 albums so far as a part of the very successful Waylon and Willie series, with Willie, of course, referring to the great Willie Nelson. In between all of his constant records dropping, Jelly also found the time for a committed relationship when he met his now wife, Bunny XO, a former sex worker turned YouTuber and podcast host with her Dumb Blonde podcast in 2015. At the time of the two getting connected, Bunny was in an abusive relationship, with Jelly recalling of their first time meeting. "We hit it off. She said she fell in love with the saddest eyes in the room. I'm not going to act like I shot my shot. She kind of shot hers. We had mutual friends. She said, 'Yo, just plug me in with Jelly.' And I hit her on some other shit. I was like, 'Yo, I'm going to be coming out to shoot some content and video stuff.' She was like, 'Yeah, come on.' I was like, 'Cool, well, I'm living in my van, so I'll leave now.' They would end up marrying just 1 year after they met at a chapel in Vegas in 2016, where they also just renewed their vows a couple of months ago at the same chapel. The same year that they got married, Jelly also gained custody of his daughter Bailey, due in no small part to Bunny, with Jelly writing the following on Facebook. "It takes a special kind of woman to raise a kid that isn't her child and still treat the child as if she was. Bunny is that special woman. Outside of the social media, outside of the podcast, and all the business endeavors she does and helps me with, Bunny is a beautiful soul. She is kind, patient, and caring. Over the years, watching her relationship with Bailey blossom into this beautiful mother-daughter bond that it has become has been nothing short of magical. I have truly been blessed with the best partner I could have asked for in life. You are the epitome of a good mom and deserve more credit than anyone because you didn't have to step up to the plate the way you did. You chose to step up, and man, you have knocked it out of the park." Wow. Sounds like Bailey legitimately said bye Felicia and hello Bunny. He also has a son named Noah from another relationship who was born in 2016, whom he has a good relationship with as well. I don't believe he has full custody of Noah like he does with Bailey, but he and Bunny definitely see Noah on the regular. These last few years have just been absolutely massive for Jelly, and I feel like 2021 was really the year where he blew up, musically speaking, of course, with the release of his first major label album, Ballads of the Broken, which is just excellent and gave him both a #1 rock song with Dead Man Walking, which is an incredible song, one of the greatest songs I've heard in years, and a #1 country song with Son of a Sinner. And talk about a major achievement, and honestly quite a bit unexpected and unprecedented in my opinion. I mean, to have separate songs, #1 rock song, #1 country song, I think they were both #1 at the same time. It's just mind-blowing, even if it wasn't at the same time. Just absolutely an incredible achievement. To really put things in perspective, the day that Ballads of the Broken was released, September 17th, 2021, which is actually also my fiance's birthday. Well, September 17th is, not September 17th, 2021, obviously. He headlined and sold out the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville, which holds just a little over 2,000 people. And fast forward to barely a year later, and he sold out the fucking Bridgestone Arena in Nashville last December, which holds over 15,000 people. Fucking insane, the amount of growth in a relatively short period of time. And not to mention, in 2022, he also made his debut at the Grand Ole Opry. And let's not forget his massive Backroad Baptism tour this summer and fall. It was a lengthy tour to support his latest album, Witsit Chapel, which did insane business and featured openers such as Struggle Jennings, Elle King, 3-6 Mafia, Yellow Wolf, Ashley McBryde, and more. The record was also a smash success, debuting at #1 on the Top Rock and Alternative Albums chart, #2 on Country, and #3 on the Billboard Hot 200, with sales and streaming being the equivalent of 90,000 units sold first week, which is insane. Oh yeah, the Backroad Baptism Tour also featured a guy climbing to the top of the pavilion at one of the shows, which makes me even more bummed that I didn't go, as this would have been this was going to be the show I was going to go to. Here's the clip. Check it out. Also, I think if I'm not mistaken, Jelly offered to pay for this guy's bail, but if I believe the guy never even got caught, I think they tried to find him, But as soon as he came down, he quickly disappeared into the crowd, and nobody ever found him. Nobody knows who he was. But anyways, here's the clip.
Make some noise if you've been drinking for an hour. Make some noise if you've been drinking for 2 hours.
All right, though, I gotta run. My fiance is waiting for me to take a trip inside her Waffle House. And hey, it's not blue, right?
Fuck you. You're about to be a dead man walking.
Oh my God, I gotta go. But thanks so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks to Mammoth Headwear for sponsoring this video, and I will see you next time.